Anyways, on to the next film, which is a movie that was released very recently on Netflix and did have a limited theatrical run, and that is Martin Scorsese's film The Irishman, which is based on a real life gangster played by Robert De Niro, and basically this film kind of suggests what may have happened to Jimmy Hoffa. If you guys don't know who Jimmy Hoffa is, well, if you watch this movie, they'll explain it to you very easily. Because I didn't know anything about Jimmy Hoffa, but he was actually a pretty big deal in the 60s. Like, a really, really big deal. And this movie's been hyped up a lot because no studio would take this movie. Like, no studio wanted to make this movie. Like, none of them. And Martin Scorsese was wanting to he was wanting to do The Irishman for a long time, and no studio would ever greenlight it. Like, no studio wanted to take it, and so Netflix was interested, and they allowed Martin Scorsese to have a budget of it's somewhere between $100 and $170 million, because I'll get into this a little bit later, but like they were going to use de-aging CGI on Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, and Joe Pesci, which was going to be very expensive. And this movie just so happens to have a runtime of nearly, I shit you not, 3.5 hours. So yeah, this is a big movie, and now luckily this movie's been getting really great reviews. But again, I was skeptical because I'm like, what kind of movie needs to be 3.5 hours long? Like, I think Lord of the Rings: Return of the King is like if I'm not mistaken, Return of the King was Return of the King has oh wow, yeah, Return of the King has a runtime of 3 hours and 48 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah. Oh, actually, no, that's probably the extended version. Actually, Lord of the Rings: Return of the King actually has a pretty similar running time to The Irishman, which is around 3 hours and 20 something minutes long. So yeah, The Irishman is long. But I could understand why Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King would need to be 3 hours long. Because it's like a big, grand, epic action fantasy adventure film. But like, this is a gangster movie. What kind of gangster movie needs to be 3.5 hours long? And so I sat down to watch The Irishman, and I'm like, I didn't really feel bored in this movie. Now, granted, I also had my computer with me, and this wasn't really in the background. I was still paying attention to this movie, but I would, like, occasionally, check on something. But again, it's not like it was in the background or anything. I was still paying attention to The Irishman. But I gotta say, I didn't really feel bored. I really didn't. Again, it might be because I had the computer with me, but there's many scenes in this movie that I was just kind of glued to the screen on. Like, Martin Scorsese really does manage to make this movie feel very cohesive, and it keeps a good focus with its running time, which you kind of run the risk of, focusing on other things that aren't necessary to the story to to sort of pad out the running time. None of this movie really feels like padding, to be honest. And sure, you probably didn't have to make this 3.5 hours long, but again, I didn't feel bored. I was interested in this movie. And again, that does go to a testament to Martin Scorsese's direction. He did a really great job with directing this film. Now let's talk about the performances. Robert De Niro gives one of the best performances he's given in a long time. Like, he's great. I mean, yeah, Robert De Niro is a great actor, but he really does nail this film, even the more subtle parts. Joe Pesci's really good as well, coming out of his his unofficial retirement. And Al Pacino is also really, really good as well. Like, some people are saying that Al Pacino could get a Best Supporting Actor nomination at the Oscars. I wouldn't be that surprised. Uh, let's talk about more of the technical aspects of this film, which include, let's talk about the cinematography. The cinematography is also really, really good. You don't notice it at first, but there's they get some really good shots in this film, especially the final shot. Like, that final shot is probably the shot of the movie. I love it. And there's a couple of scenes that are just, tracking shots of the camera's following some characters around and goes into another place. It's like, you know me, I just love long tracking shots. I love those. But now let's talk about the CGI, the de-aging technology. I was worried about that in this movie because I'm like, how good is the CGI? The CG, like I said, they use CGI to de-age these three characters, and probably some more characters as well. But it's mainly Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, and Joe Pesci. And I was kind of wondering, is this really gonna work? Nope, it works. It really works. And it took a while for me to realize, but as the movie was going on, I realized, wait, I'm seeing these characters age. Like, throughout the entire film, you see them aging more and more and more. And, with the CGI, and it's very subtle. I love that. I love it when a CGI effect makes me kind of forget about the CGI effect. Like, CGI Joe Pesci looks really, really good as well. Especially, and of course, Robert De Niro looks really good as well. Al Pacino was a lot. Al Pacino's CGI was a lot harder to notice. It was very hard to notice because I didn't know if it was actually Al Pacino, just regular Al Pacino, or if he was done in CGI. I think he was also done in CGI, but it's hard to tell. So yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know if he'll get nominated for Best Visual Effects at the Oscars, but I wouldn't be surprised. Like, the visual effects on The Irishman are really, really good. So, yeah, I would, and also the screenplay is really good, too. I love the screenplay. This currently is in my top 5 movies of the year right now. Again, I have to, I still have to see quite a few more movies, but, right now, The Irishman is in my top 5 movies of the year. I really, really like The Irishman. I thought it was fantastic. And if you guys have Netflix, check it out. Again, this movie's 3.5 hours long, so be wary of that. But hey, let me know your thoughts if you watch it.